all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the March 7th, 2022 Board of Aldermen meeting. Up first, we have minutes of the previous meeting, February 22nd, 2022. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. It's been seconded. Are there any corrections, alterations, changes to the previous minutes meetings? Hearing and seeing none, will all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We're now on to outside the rail. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the board on matters not on the agenda? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Karen Bossi, and I reside at 16 Southern Boulevard in Rutland. I'm here, as people are aware, there was a recount on the school board election that was held yesterday. And I just wanted to thank City Clerk Heck and his staff for all of the outstanding work that they did. It was a very difficult election and a long and time-consuming recount. I would also like to thank the members of the Board of Civil Authority for their time and efforts in this recount. I would also just like to express my concern over some people who participated in the recount despite my request that they be reclused because they were part of the Rutland Forward group. Those people declined to. One of the people was out campaigning for the other side. And I would say that had the vote not come out the same as when City Clerk Heck had done it the second or third time, I would have had grounds for an appeal. I don't feel it's appropriate, and I think it's a violation of city charter and municipal ordinances for Board of Aldermen members to participate in something where there is a clear conflict. Requested that Michael Talbot be reclused. He is part of Rutland Forward and also made some inappropriate comments. Alderman Whitcomb also was involved way beyond the point for the Board of Aldermen. This did not involve the Board of Aldermen. It was a school board issue and an issue with the city clerk. And I'm just hoping that moving forward, you will all let your wives, your girlfriends, your fiancés run the school board, and you run the Board of Aldermen for which you were elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen Bossi, for sharing your insight on conflict of interests. Is there anyone else here who would wish to address the board on matters not on the agenda? Hearing and seeing none, we're on to communications from the mayor.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. I just had a couple of quick things I wanted to talk about tonight at our unusual lame duck session that we're having tonight, but we're all here and we have business to move forward. First of all, I wanted to take a minute to congratulate all the winners from last Tuesday's election, and I look forward to working with the Board of Aldermen and all of you in the coming year. So congratulations. I also want to thank a couple of people in particular. Sam Garuso, I want to thank you for your service and for running, and appreciate the time you've put in, and the city thanks you very much. This is your second stint, and you've served the city well, so we appreciate that. So thank you very much. And in the realm of two stints, I would also like to take a minute to thank my old friend, good friend, longtime compatriot here, Paul Clifford, for his service to the Board of Aldermen. Paul and I go back a long ways. Paul was in my wedding, which was a couple of moons ago, and I appreciate everything that you've done on the Board of Aldermen. When I first was elected in 1998, I remember getting a phone call. I think it was the first thing the next morning. It was you, to congratulate me and to thank me for stepping up I was, 40 years old, didn't know my way around here very well, and we had a couple of chats, and I just appreciated the fact that you recognized that there were people out there that wanted to serve their city. And I want to thank you for your service, not only on the Board of Aldermen, but Public Works, Commissioner of Public Works, and all the various roles that you've played over the years. So thank you very much, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And one last thing that I wanted to let the board know, that and after having a conversation with our city attorney, it's come to my mind that time is passing by, and it's only 3 or 4 months now until July 1st. And it's going to take a little while to hire the new folks that now that the budget's been approved, to hire the new folks that we have, that was included in the budget. And then this particular one is the assistant city attorney. So we have had some savings in the budget this year, although I don't expect that we're going to have somebody on board between now and July 1st. But if we did, we would have, I think there's money in there to pay for the person, he or she. But regardless of that, it is going to take a while to get advertising and get somebody in here, get interviewed and everything else. So we're going to start that process here almost immediately. And I just wanted to let the board know that we were going to do that. So I think that's all I got tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? Thank you, Mayor Lair.
You're welcome.
Additions and deletions to the agenda. Attorney Boomer, you're not going to do anything today?
Thank you.
We
for some help.
We really appreciate it.
At least tonight.
This brings us to reports and letters from department heads and officials. Andrew, we have you up first with disposition of city-owned property, pages 1 through 4 of your packet.
So the City-Owned Properties Committee is recommending the disposition of 4 properties. We met on Friday, March 4th, and there were multiple bids for each property. So we'll start on the top here with alphabetically with 24 Division Street. We're recommending the disposition to Rob Petrini for $10,800. The amount owed on the property was $21,672.87. Any questions with 24 Division Street?
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules has been seconded. Would all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
The next one,
You want to do these one at a time?
Wow, we'll take them one at a time.
Yes.
The motion's in there.
So, if I may, I move to authorize the sale of 24 Division Street to Rob Petrini for the purchase price of $10,800 pursuant to Section 6.2 of the Rutland City Charter, and to further authorize the mayor to sign all purchase and related sales documents.
Second.
Right, we have a motion that has been seconded. Any questions, discussion, debate? Hearing and seeing none, will all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, now, 120 Maple Street, the City-Owned Properties Committee is recommending the disposition of this property to Rutland Housing Initiative 1 LLC. They're also known as the Hale Group down in Bennington, for any who might be familiar. They do lots of great work down there, and they're trying to break into the Rutland market. There were multiple bids, but the City-Owned Properties Committee felt like they were the best suited ones for this property at the amount owed, which was $25,856.79.
So I'll move to suspend
Second.
each one, or, okay.
Might as well. Motion to suspend has been seconded. Would all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
And I'll move to authorize the sale of 120 Maple Street to the Rutland Housing Initiative LLC for the purchase price of $25,856.79 pursuant to Section 6.2 of the Rutland City Charter, and to further authorize the mayor to sign all purchase and sales related documents.
All right, we have a motion. It's been seconded. Any questions, discussion, debate? Hearing and seeing none, will all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
On to the next one, 33 Summer Street. There are also multiple bids with this one. The highest bidder came in at $10,000 over the amount owed, using the same rationale as our last round in January. When we get bids that are over the amount owed, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the previous landowner to take the highest bidder. So with this one and 157 State Street, that was the case. So the City-Owned Properties Committee selected Randy Bishop as the recommendee, or recommendation. One thing I would note with this one is we did not get the deposit, so maybe making the motion contingent on getting the deposit would be recommended. So the bid amount was $62,363.88.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second. I have a motion to suspend the rules. It's been seconded. Will all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
I'll make the motion to authorize the sale of 33 Summer Street to Randy Bishop for the purchase price of $62,363.88 pursuant to Section 6.2 of the Rutland City Charter, and to further authorize the mayor to sign all purchase and sale related documents pending receipt of deposit.
Yeah.
Second.
Have a motion. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion, questions, debate? Hearing and seeing none, would all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
And last but not least, 157 State Street. The amount owed on this one was $23,588.78. The bid amount was $54,000 to Jesse Bilodeau and Stephen Bilodeau. Again, with the same logic, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the previous landowner to take the highest bid.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
I have a motion to suspend the rules. It has been seconded. Would all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
And motion to authorize the sale of 157 State Street to Jesse Bilodeau and Stephen Bilodeau for the purchase price of $54,000 pursuant to Section 6.2 of the Rutland City Charter, and to further authorize the mayor to sign all purchase and sale related documents.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Any questions, discussion, debate? Hearing and seeing none, will all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
One thing I would just add is, so the city's going to recoup 91% of the amount lost. So I think that's notable for this round of 4. The total that we lost was around $123,500, and we're going to be recouping approximately $112,000. So.
Alderman Dunges.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, it's nice to see, this is just a sign of, I think, what's happening in our city, right? This is investment back in the community. It's investment in what would be considered blight for revitalization. And thanks to the group for putting this together and doing such a good job filtering through these candidates. And thanks for everybody who's investing back in our city. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Alderman Dunges. Any other questions for Andrew? No, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, up next we have Treasurer Markowski. Bond post issuance compliance, pages 5 through 10 of your packet.
Okay, I hope everyone has a pen tonight. This is part of annual review of bond files and requirement by the bond bank to have the project certification, the completion certificate on file. When I was preparing for the compliance review, I noticed a few of the files, some of the older issues, I didn't have the completion certificate, and some are first time round. So I'm just looking for the board to sign those certificates, if you would.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second. A motion to suspend the rules. It has been seconded. Would all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I'll move to circulate for signature the bond series for the bridge bond, the municipal pool bond, the Rutland Recreation Community Center bond, street sidewalks, and structured culverts bond.
Second.
I have a motion. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion, questions, or debate on this?
I have a
I'm
quick
sorry.
question. There are a total of 5, so if we go ahead and send these around, I just appreciate if you could sign and maybe send, signed and send, however you want to do it. We just need to make sure everyone signs 5 separate documents.
Thank you.
All right. So we have that motion, it's been seconded. I don't think there's any further discussion, questions, or debate. Would all those in favor please say aye? Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries, and they are making their way around. Thank you very much. Treasurer
Thank you.
Markowski.
Any questions on any of them? Thanks.
Up next, Clerk Heck, Elections Report.
Thank you, President Whitcomb. So I felt it was really necessary to have just a brief update from the clerk in regards to the election. I wanted to basically speak to the voters for the most part in regards. And as I get on here, I think it'll become a little clearer in the aspect. The one thing I would like to address to the board specifically is this is professional, this is not personal. So I'd be happy to talk or chat with anybody that has any questions after this report. I wanted to take this opportunity to address the public, and more specifically the voters of Rutland City. This past election presented some obstacles that in my 14 previous March elections, I've never dealt with. First, in preparing for the election, I underestimated the ballots. Could get into details about how we come up with those numbers. It doesn't really matter. We ran out of ballots. So the big thing was, how are we going to make sure the voters got to vote and present that to be counted during the election? You know, the main thing was that this created extra work for my staff and the ward officials, and for that, I am sorry. Have to be honest, though, it was kind of neat being with the voters and having them comment about the fact that, one, they were thanking me because I was standing at the booth more than anything else, you know, collecting the ballots. But I said, no, thank you. And I said, I apologize for the fact that we ran out of ballots. I'm kind of happy to hear we ran out of ballots. At least we know people are out voting. So I did not receive a complaint. I did not hear of any complaints. And the biggest thing was because of the so-called contention of some of the races. I wanted to make sure, as this word I've heard quite a bit this week, the conspiracy theories out there, we try and put those to bed as quickly as we can as far as that goes. So, my fault in regards to running out of ballots. The next item that I would like to just speak on quickly is, on top of running out of ballots, which wasn't quite bad enough on that Tuesday, I received a phone call around 3 p.m. the next day from an inquiry about a school candidate's totals. Basically, I was at my house finishing up lunch. When I got back to the office, the first thing I did is I revisited the machine tapes and the hand counts. And I took a look at those figures, and sure enough, within Ward 2, there was an error. The night of the election, while working on vote totals with my assistant, I entered the wrong vote total for a school commissioner's candidate. Nobody wants to hear it was an error. Everybody wants to conceive their own ideas about what happened. Again, that onus is on me. And I know how this error happened. And basically, this is one of the commitments I'm going to make to the voters, is I tend to promise people a little bit more than sometimes I can handle. So when I have pretty much every newspaper, TV, broadcast, PEG TV, alderfolk, friends that are interested in the results, I didn't quite do my due diligence probably and try to get out information before I should have. That input error is on me. So, but moving forward, the clerk will be presenting a policy where results will be coming when they are finished, not when the paper wants them. I'm sorry, Your Honor, maybe not when my boss wants them or any other person, but we need to do our due diligence, because I owe it to not only the voters, but I owe it to the candidates. You know, which I really felt bad about in that aspect. That wasn't an easy thing. You know, and there afterwards, you know, what is it that I'm supposed to do? Well, I get on the phone and I explain what's going on. And Ms. Bossi was really the number one, you know, result of that as far as that goes. So for that, I do apologize to those people. After I found the error, I corrected the total. This brought the 5th place finisher, which was Ms. K. and the 4th place winner at that time was Mrs. Bossi, to within 2 votes of each other. There was a separation of 65. That brought them down to 2. Not only that, but it also brought Mrs. Dunges into the fold because she was the third place finisher. And the difference between the third and the fifth were 5 total votes. So I've been here long enough to know what was coming next. It was just a matter of when it was requested. I have to tell you that that mistake itself, I will not forget as long as I'm here for the remainder, and I've been here 14 years. It's something I have not done before, I'm not proud of, and I can try and attest to the voters specifically. I will do my due diligence to make sure that does not happen again, because it's not fair to anybody. The recount was requested by Marisa Kefeber, and I received that request on Thursday through an email, through the Secretary of State, who I've spent an enormous amount of time going through the details of what we needed to do and stuff, 2 days to prepare, 3 days to start the election. Got emails sent off to the Board of Civil Authority for those folks to understand what was happening in the process and how we were going to go about that, and was looking to see if we could take this recount up on Sunday, March 6th, which was yesterday, and we did. So, we held an election yesterday. I thought that it went about as good as it could. I tried to do, again, my due diligence, making sure that each candidate had a representative or understood the process. I spent a lot of time explaining, because that's who I am. You know, it's my job, and that's what I'm responsible for doing. So I was hopeful that everyone felt that the process moved along. I've heard back from some people today, and that is what I've been told. So the recount took place yesterday. The votes were counted, tabulated, and reported. The outcome remained unchanged, meaning Mrs. Dunges still finished in 3rd place, Mrs. Bossy was in 4th place, and Ms. Kefeber was in 5th place, first runner-up. Hard pill to swallow. I have to be honest with you, I've been there before. I can understand her feelings, or, you know, how this, you know, these candidates felt and stuff. That's the part that I take onus, and I'm working on things that, you know, I will get together with my boss and describe, and we'll make so-called policy changes within our office to make sure that we're all on the same page. There's a couple other anomalies that have happened out there. For some reason, the wards seem to be noisier than they have been. I've had some noise complaints. So I think we need to just revisit what's going on. There was a gentleman in our Ward 1 that just sat literally off in a side room for, I think, 7 hours, just on his phone, playing videos, watching TV, doing whatever. So I can understand that disruption, you know, for the voters and stuff, and we'll work on those things. So the COVID things didn't seem to be a problem. Everybody still was very respectful, and I think, you know, basically the day went as well as it could, you know, based upon the shortage of ballots. But 2,933, it's, you know, it's a decent number, but it's still not a large turnout as far as that goes. Some other concerning things. This is the personal side of me that comes forth. I'll retire my clerk's hat for just a moment and put on my Henry Heck hat. On Thursday evening, after the election and just before the recount, there was a concern that was brought to my attention. It was calling into question the integrity of an employee in the clerk's office. So, that concern, as I understand it, was a shared article on Facebook. I do not diminish or embellish this concern, but when it is commented and shared, there is a question about a person's integrity dealing with elections for my office. I want to ensure the public it is taken very seriously. So, I had a phone call from the board president informing me, I think respectfully and more on the positive side, about some stuff that was happening on Facebook or being stated. 7 o'clock at night, I'm not going to be able to do much about that, but the first thing I did when I got in the next morning was I stopped in the HR director's office before I took my jacket off, and we started to have this discussion. At that point in time, within 3 minutes, Attorney Bloomer entered the doorway and said to Judy Frazier, "The mayor and I need you upstairs." And she was like, okay, what's going on? And I stated, I hope it's not about the person in my office, and it was. So there's two alder folks that were upstairs, and I think at the same time, they were sharing their concerns about getting ahead of potential whatever they're looking to get ahead about. That's fine. But the conspiracist type things that are reported, remember, this is a human being, this is an individual. This woman has worked in my office for 5 years. She does more in elections than I do. She is responsible for the input, the registration, the distribution of ballots, okay? Absentees, she prepares checklists, she prepares candidates' reports. So we need to separate the difference between politics. And basically, what I have said is politics have no place and will never have any place within the clerk's office. We are impartial and deliver the results of votes cast by our voters. As I stated, daily this person registers and updates voters' information, preparing the checklist for the next election. The landscape of elections have changed within a recent presidential election, now filtering down to small-town politics, okay? But I will not allow false accusations to just be left alone. I could have done this on a personal thing, but this is important. You need to understand, you attack someone within that office, and I'm talking about my office specifically, I conclude it's a personal attack on myself. My employees and I, we work with each other. Nobody works for me. I work for them. So if there's a problem, I can assure you, there's no one in this building that's going to take it any more serious than I am. That's the kind of person I am. Mr. Dungus, I think you found that out yesterday, okay? It's kind of disappointed in that, because at that specific time, we were taking care of business. That was not a place for you to comment or to have a concern. That's my personal feelings on that. I respect you as an alderman, I respect you as a person, but I thought that that was not necessary at that time. I want the voters to know how we're conducting business within the clerk's office. It is easy for someone to play armchair quarterback on their computer or their phone, making comments that are baseless, disparaging, without merit or credibility. I have realized there is nothing to stop someone from making comments. And people say to me, ignore them. Just ignore them. And stop making those comments. You don't have to worry about it. Other people out there know what kind of job you're doing. It's not easy to do. I believe when you deal with voters, you're looked upon in a different light. Voting is one of the most privileged rights we have as Americans, and I mean that. So when we do 2,900 ballots out there and we have 11,567 registered voters, I don't think it's a great turnout. I really don't. And I'm not being disrespectful to the voters. I'm just stating a case. You're watching it on TV, what democracy is all about today. The Ukrainians are fighting for their lives, okay? And we see that. So, again, respectfully, we have to be aware of what we make comments for. The comment was not directed, but I do hold you responsible for flaming that part of what was going on with Tracy and the comment out there. We need to do our due diligence before we bring something to light when it may not be fact. Or if we just don't like the fact that someone in a clerk's office likes red and you like blue, that doesn't mean that we should be reporting her for doing those kind of things. So, that's the way I used to deal in business. And as long as I'm the clerk of this city, the voters will always come first and foremost, plain and simple. And I have worked with people and you folks for a long time, and I know that you respect me and I respect you. I sat in your seats, not an easy job. Try sitting in my seat every once in a while. It's not an easy job, but it's the job that I have, and I'm ready to take it on as far as that goes. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry.
Clerk, if I could follow up with one clarifying question. Based upon what I believe is false accusation levied toward me tonight. Could you confirm for the viewing audience at home that I did not participate in the recount?
No, absolutely not. Alderman Whitcomb did not participate in the recount, as far as that goes. And the people that did participate, and Karen Bossi has a right to ask a question or to deal with that. I can't believe that, you know, people would intentionally, you know, do something. So working with, I mean, I use Michael Talbot as literally my right-hand person to work through this. I thought that the conversation, the dialect that we had yesterday was great. I thought everyone worked together for the common goal of what that was to get a count and to finish. I know Ms. Kefeber, that was the one thing she said. She could take any kind of result as long as the numbers were accurate. I know Ms. Bossi presented the same comment, the same statement, and that's what we were here for, was to present that number. And I get it that people have intentions, or they have a candidate, or they want to do, you know, whatever it is. This is small town politics. And I can assure you one thing. I've seen it again. The voters of this city, when they have had enough, they will definitely let us candidates know.
Amen.
So as far as that goes, you never have to be worried about that, as far as it is. But no, I mean, you know, Matt, as far as that goes, you were here at the end when we went through to do that. I was kind of surprised Marissa was gone. I was looking forward to do those things, but I can kind of understand that objective. But I thought that we were all, I thought it went very well at the end of the day.
Thank you, Clerk. Alderman DePoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I wasn't able yesterday to participate in the recount. I was supposed to be bringing my son up to Plattsburgh to fly out back to college. However, his flight got changed, and I ended up leaving at 6 a.m. this morning to take him to Plattsburgh for his flight. I have participated in some recounts before in my days in the state legislature, and it's a very tedious day, and people's tempers at times can flare, especially when you're debating a couple of votes, which is the way that this election turned out for the school board. And, you know, at the end of the days that I spent in those recounts, you know, I was pretty frazzled myself, and just kind of knowing that the process turned out, it was an honest process, is the most important thing, you know, of the day. It's the most important thing that can come out of a recount or a vote. And that leads me to why I feel like I have to say something here today, and that is that I've known Henry Heck for longer than the 14 years that he's been the clerk, and the, I don't know, 15 years, I guess, that I've been here on the board. And I served with Henry when he was a board member. And any time and every time that I've ever had a question of Henry or business in the clerk's office, whether it be alderman or my own personal business, like registering my dogs or anything, he and his staff have gone above and beyond, not for me, but for the people that were in front of me in line. And every time treated the people with respect, and, you know, not knowing and not caring any political affiliation. And that's the thing that, you know, is impressive when it comes to city government, and it's why it really irritates me these days that we seem to be so polarized on this board and in city government as to what anybody believes. This lady and I might be considered to be really close politically, but she and I have had our wars in 14 years. On the phone, on emails, on text, and face-to-face. Okay? This guy over here and this guy helped me on my first campaign for the State House of Representatives. Okay? It was wonderful, that the help that they gave me. But he's disagreed with me many times, and I've disagreed with him. Same with this guy, okay? No different than Mike, or Michael, you know, anybody down the line. And Sam Garuso and I have disagreed, but we've also agreed on things, okay? Now, I couldn't tell you today as I sit here knowing Henry for 15, 16 years, who he votes for president, or for governor, or for state senate, or for representative. I have no idea. And that's a good thing when it comes to somebody that's in the position he's in, that you have no idea where he stands politically. Because that shows me that he's treating me just like anyone else here and anyone outside the rail and anyone outside this building. And I think his staff really strives that way too. I have no idea how any of them vote when it comes to outside of city politics at all. But I do know that each one of them is providing a service to everyone that walks in that office down there, and the integrity is incredible. I'm not on Facebook. I got off of Facebook, as you can imagine. Paul and I have had the conversation because you can do something silly, stupid, or not even intentional in any way, and you can still get fried for it. So I got off of...
You can do nothing and get fried for it.
So I don't even care. I've been off for 4.5 years. I don't even care. So, and that my point is that I don't know what Tracy might have forwarded or texted or, you know, whatever. But I don't really care, because I know that when I walk in there, or when somebody else walks in there, they're getting the best possible service that they can out of the city clerk's office. And I don't think that this election was any different. And Henry, I just want to thank you for, you know, your years of service and many more years. I hope that, you know, when I walk in or when anyone else walks in, I know that they're going to get professional service out of you and your staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
So I'd like to echo Alderman DePoy about the integrity of you and your office. I think it's unquestionable. But my question to you is, whatever the issue was, whatever the event occurred, did it occur during business hours?
No, and to
Thank
be
you.
honest with you, the event was, the Rutland Herald released an article that basically Ms. Kefeber was requesting an account. She shared, tagged, I'm not a Facebook person, I couldn't tell you, poor Matt had to explain it 12 times to me what actually happened, and she sent it off to the other group of candidates for the school commission. That's
On her
what
own
happened.
time?
On her own time.
Thank you.
Yes, not at work. Her own private time. That was the extent.
Thank you.
Alderman Caruso.
Love what I'm hearing. I know it's my last night, but you know, I've said it in this term and whatever. A lot of people gotta not put too much weight in a lot of the social media and a lot of the media. I mean, I've written things that I've been mad at people about and heard over or whatever, and you know, I don't think there's anything I regret, but I don't know if it should come in this room. And you've seen me with anonymous letters. Anonymous letters don't exist. Unless something happens, I think, like Alderman Davis says, right before you, during business hours, in front of you, that's how you deal with it. But the world's just too full of crazy stuff right now to be believing any media. Unless it comes to that microphone over there in front of this group of people, it doesn't come in. And I think you've seen me extinguish anonymous anythings that come before me or have in the last 2 years. So I think you guys did a great job with it. But in the future, I hope that they just ignore anything like that. Unless someone comes to you as the department head in your office during business hours, it ain't nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Caruso. Anyone else? Alderman Gillum.
Ditto. That's all I'm going to say.
And I appreciate the support, and I appreciate everybody listening. It's just the fact that this woman that works within this office has to work with this board. I'm not always going to be here. You know, every once in a while, I might want to take a night off or do something, and she's concerned
She'll be
about
welcome.
how she'll be received.
She'll be welcome.
So as far as that goes, and as her supervisor, I need to make sure that we all understand that, you know, certain things happen, but they can't, and I won't allow them to be tolerated. I grew up being bullied. Nobody that is around me will ever be bullied. I can assure you that. I just will not tolerate it. So, and that's all I really want to say in this. I appreciate everyone listening, and we can move on. I am a professional. I will treat everyone as a professional. I will continue to do as I've been doing. I have served this board for 14 years, and I'm telling you right now, I've served you folks really well. There's a lot of people in this room that can attest to that. One is my boss over there that I helped and it was, part of for 9 years. Sharon Davis I have, Matt Wickham I have. And if Matt's back, I'd be happy to do it. And if it's anybody else, I will help you and guide you as best I can. Because that's the kind of person that I am. So, thank you again.
Thank you, Henry. If there's nothing else, and there doesn't appear to be, we are on to reports of standing committees. This is Alderwoman Davis, Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Committee met February 23rd. The topic was ARPA funds. Members present were Alderman Talbot, Dunges, I apologize for the spelling, Gillum, Garuso, and Davis. Also present were Mayor Lair, Brennan Duffy from the RRA, Treasurer Markowski, President Wickham, and Alderman DuPoy. Brennan from the RRA presented the business plan competition, which is modeled after the Kickstart Middlebury program. This idea would be to solicit new business ideas from city residents or existing businesses. This would be they would have startup money for $20,000 to $25,000 and assistance to help them get going. That assist may be legal needs or other types of assistance partnered with the Vermont Small Business Development Corporation, who would provide a business plan assistance and vetting for the applicants. The plans would be judged and then awarded. The request for funds is an amount of $125,000. The motion is to approve the request for $125,000 for the business plan competition. The RRA is to lead the plan with the board's Community and Economic Development Committee to follow the progress, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, it's been seconded. Is there any question? Alderman Talbot.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, I thought the motion we made in committee was to refer it to CED. Is that what this means?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because
We'll meet with Brennan and the
you'll have to
committee
meet
and
with
work on
in order to check the progress, maintain the progress, has to be in committee.
Great.
All right.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? If not, we have a motion, it's been seconded. Would all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
And the next request was for a housing initiative needing seed money to total $400,000 to partner with Neighborhood Works as the loan administrator for a no-interest loan and establish this as a revolving loan fund. These loans would be approximately $20,000 to $25,000 to help establish more market rate housing. The motion is to approve the request to establish the revolving loan fund with seed money totaling $400,000. The RRA to act as the lead in partnership with Neighborhood Works and the Community and Economic Development Committee to follow, and I so move.
Second.
Alderman Talbot.
Can I just ask that we amend the motion to say Neighborhood Works or another entity in case they're not
Certainly.
able to administer?
I'll accept that amendment.
Accept that too.
So we have a motion, it's been seconded, or an amended motion and been seconded. Is there any further discussion or debate? Hearing and seeing none, would all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. All right. This brings us to reports of select committees, of which we have nothing. Reports of representatives, we have nothing. Petitions, letters, miscellaneous communication, special event permit request, VFW, post 648 Loyalty Day Parade, page 11 through 17 of your
Motion
packet.
to suspend the rules.
Second.
A motion to suspend the rules, it's been seconded. Would all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
I guess the motion is, I haven't done one of these in a while, is to, authorize the mayor, because all department heads have signed off for, the
Just to approve,
VFW
yeah.
post 48 Loyalty Day Parade.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion, it's been seconded. Is there any discussion, questions? Alderman Griswold?
Having been the master ceremonies for a million years, I'm really glad Alderman Gillum and a lot of others have picked this up. This is just such a great tradition in Rutland. And it'll start, I guess, on May 1st at 2 p.m. We haven't had this in a while.
2 years.
Yeah, and I think I might have said during one of the aldermen's debates that when I was at the bandstand waiting for, the parade to get there, what a neat thing to have people say, I'm from Derby, and we're from Derby, and we drove down here. We're from Newport. We're from Plattsburgh. Almost every year, someone had to come up to the viewing stand, so it really brings people to Rutland, and it's a great venue, and I love the VFW, and I thank them for, and Donna, me, and Freedy, and everybody for getting the parade together again. Thank you.
Gillen, yourself.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make it a known to the full board that I'm a member of the committee, but I do support this parade. I work on it, so, yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, comments? Mayor Lair?
Yeah, just, I wanted to add, Sam pretty much summed up what I was going to say, but I did get a call from the Herald today asking about the parade. I must have seen it on the agenda. And, it hasn't been happened in a couple of years. We haven't had the Halloween parade in a couple of years. I think it's going to be important for the city, which they always do, to support not only the veterans, but the organizations that put this parade together. And hopefully we'll have a nice day and we get a big turnout and get people revved up and to honor the people that have served this country, because that's what it's all about. So needless to say, entirely supportive of this moving forward. So.
And everybody's going to get a invitation to march in the parade. We're going to be invited, and we also invite all the county and legislators and the governor. So you'll be all invited to march in the parade.
Very nice, thank you. There's no further discussion or questions or debate. There's a motion, it's been seconded. Would all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a pull and wire request from Green Mountain Power, pages 18 through 20. of your
Motion to
packet.
receive and file.
I believe we have to
No, we got to do
suspend the rules.
Suspend the rules.
second.
All right, so we have a motion to suspend the rules, and it's been seconded. Would all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I would move for the approval along with the 6 standard conditions, Mr. Chairman. 7 standard conditions.
It's okay.
Second.
Used to be 6.
All right, so we have a motion that has been seconded to accept the request with the 7 standard conditions. Any questions, discussion, debate? Hearing and seeing none, will all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Up next, Ted Barnett, 16 Chaplain Ave, ADA wrap request, page 21 and 22 of your packet. Alderman Clifford.
Move to suspend the rules, Mr. Chairman, take this up.
Second.
Yeah, motion to suspend the rules. It's been seconded. Would all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Clifford.
Mr. Chairman, I spoke with Engineer Gillen today, and I think, I don't know if the people are here tonight regarding this, but
Yeah, Paul in the corner.
oh,
There.
okay. I didn't know if you wanted to speak to the issue, but I was, like I said, I was talking to Ted today, and if you wanted to to talk about this some more, I was just gonna make a motion to approve this, subject to the conditions set forth in this letter by the city engineer.
Second.
Yes, I mean, that would be roughly what our request would be.
Yeah, I did.
To the extent I could update the Board of Aldermen to the project that's going on in Chaplain Avenue, I think it might be worth.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure,
Please.
sure.
There's a motion on the floor, right?
Right.
I promise I'll make this short. So I just wanted to bring kind of the project on Chaplain Avenue in front of the board. My name is Ted Barnett. I'm the CFO, and in my spare time, I'm the project manager. And basically, we've secured $1.5 million to renovate 2 buildings on Chaplain Avenue. If you know where the Cumberland Farms is, it's that white building that's in Tyvek. We have the funding. It's ready to go. And so it essentially would bring 11,000 square feet of purpose-built community space, a full commercial kitchen, 80-seat conference and gathering room. We would have a space for our high school for pregnant, parenting, and at-risk youth. We would be able to also bring all of our offices to the same place, so we could really make it, we're calling it one PCC place. So it would be a place for everyone in the community to get the services they needed, whether that's childcare, whether that's case management, whether that's really just a supportive community to kind of get you on the path to success. And so this has really been, for folks who haven't been on the play-by-play, this has really been a saga of a project. We purchased the property in 2012. We received a CBDG block grant in 2015. And so the city's been holding on to that very generously. Thank you so much for about up until now. The USDA, we had to do an environmental review. It was a brownfield site, so truck out a bunch of contaminated soil. That happened in 2018 and 2019. We received our commitment from the USDA, which is about a $1.2 million commitment. That's in loan funding and grant funding. That happened last year, and really right now we are ready to go and begin construction. So the article that's before you is the front ramp of one of the buildings needs to be constructed to make the top floor ADA compliant. And the only way to get that ramp onto Chaplin Avenue is to encroach on the city's right-of-way. We talked with Ted Gillen and worked back and forth. The solution we came up with was to bump out the sidewalk so you continue to have 5 feet of egress, so it could still be ADA compliant up and down the street. But then we would be able to get people in and out of the building. Really, the alternative is to put elevators in that building, and it's not within our budget to do that. So that's why we put it in front of the board. It requires your approval to build that ramp and a balcony to cover that ramp on city right away. So I appreciate your consideration on that matter, and yes, you can carry on. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Alderman Dunges.
So actually, I just have a comment. You said this has been a saga, and you're
Yes.
right. I've witnessed a lot of what's been going on between Cedar, or at the time it was Reddick, having to hold the property
Correct.
for you
Oh,
and
yes.
whatnot. It's really interesting. It's a very community-connected project, right?
Correct.
Between the city involvement, like you said, the USDA, Cedar, everybody's involved in this. And I know this is a small request, but I think it's nice to see the kind of getting along the way and almost getting to the end of the line, because it'll be great to see this when it's all said and done. So thank you for continuing the progress on a project like this, even though it seemed daunting at times. I really appreciate that.
Yes, and a lot of credit goes to Mary Feldman's there, our executive director. She really carried a lot of space for this project and pushed it along. So yes, that it really has been work, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Alderman Gill.
Your program, you said kids at risk, you're dealing
Yes.
with? Are you going to be working with the school system to help them with their issues?
Yes, we have contracts with all of the supervisory unions. We receive students from all over the county.
Great to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we have a motion. It's been seconded. Would all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. This brings us to Board of Control Commissioners, of which we have nothing. Unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business to come before the board? Hearing and seeing none. Miscellaneous motions, resolutions, new business. Alderman Neary.
Yeah, this is just really a comment while we have everybody here for the last time. And I wanted to just say thank you, especially to Paul and Sam, but also to everybody. It's crazy to think it's only been a year since I've been on here. It feels like a lifetime, and I had no idea what I was getting into. You know, when I campaigned, I was like, it's got to be easier than campaigning. This was awful. It's not. So, you know, everyone here knows what it's like, but everybody outside the rail and at home, it's such a difficult job. And, you know, the few meetings a week you see on the calendar is only the start. And I think everyone deserves a round of of applause because of just the commitment to the city and the way we've been moving forward. When I, was elected last year, I was really worried because the year before was pretty tumultuous. I think everyone can agree that is true. And this year, I think we turned a slate and everyone has gotten along, and I personally feel connected to everybody on this board. I've only been treated with respect, and I really hope that continues, that trend continues with our next makeup and into the future, because the only people that benefit are the city. And, all of you I can call friends at this point, and I just hope we continue that trend because there's so much work to do, and we've got a lot in the hopper. So just thank you, that's all, and let's keep going.
Thank you, Alderman Neary. Alderman Davis?
Well, I just want to take time before we adjourn to thank both Alderman Garuso and Alderman Clifford for their service. I've sat with them a long time in 2 different stints and grown with them and watched them be both dedicated servants to this city, be available to the taxpayers, be open for discussion, and have an open mind to make sure that the best decision was always the decision that served the taxpayers well. And I want to thank you both.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Davis. Anyone?
I'd like to ditto what the senior member of the board had just mentioned, and I have worked with Sam the first time around and now the second time around, and I've served when he was commissioner and also as alderman. I do appreciate all the work you two have done. I know it's a hard job. It's a hard job to get to the committee meetings, and it does interrupt your home life a little bit. So thank you very much for your dedication. And good luck.
Thank you.
Got a lot of grays to prove it.
Anyone? Alderman DeFoy.
So of course, I'd like to thank both of them as well. Paul and I go back a long way in the political realm, and Sam and I just met this last year for the first time, actually, because we went the whole year prior to that with the COVID protocols where we were all remote, and Sam has helped me out with a lot of stuff going back to the 90s, that's for sure. So, even though I've been here 15 years, I never pretend to know everything, that's for sure. I'm learning stuff every day, and I learn stuff from, even the new people on the board, and then you're right. Imagine what a year feels for you, imagine what 14 or 15 does for me. And I can't imagine this one over here. And then on a light note, I don't know if this ends it or not, but Rutland High School boys basketball won the other night. They beat the odds. They played incredibly well. And the championship game is this Thursday up there at UVM. I hope everyone that can make it makes the track up to Burlington to support that team. They were the underdog, and they just played their hearts out. And that's what Rutland High School basketball is all about, is playing with the heart that they have. I mean, they've got quicker guys on the other team. They've got taller guys, a lot taller guys, but those teams at Rutland High School seem to always be a contender, and this year they're contending for the state championship. So nice. Congratulations to them, and best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you, Alderman DePoy. If there's no one else, I got Alderman Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to start by saying congratulations to all the newly elected aldermen. I know you'll do well. I want to thank the people of the city of Rutland for putting their trust in me. I want to thank the members of this board, past members of the board. Getting a little emotional. The department heads, the employees. I want to thank the mayor. We go back, almost 50 years. So, I really appreciate it. I'm going to get a chance to work. I want to thank my wife for setting me on the right path a few times. I appreciate that. Alderman Neary, you talked about respect. If there's one thing I wish for, it's that this board respects one another going forward, respects the wishes of the people. And I want to leave you with something that is considered a deep fact. The older you get, the more you realize how precious life is. You have no desire for drama, conflict, or stress. You just want good friends, a cozy home, food on the table, and people who make you happy. And that's where I'm going.
I'm definitely going to miss the chat in the corner over here.
Alderman Clifford, thank you so much for your service to the city.
Thank you.
And your friendship, and I look forward to seeing you on the golf course a lot going forward.
Do it. Sure.
Thank you, Alderman. Last and certainly not least,
thank
Alderman
you.
Sam Garuso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thanks, guys. I want you to know, I said it before the election, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted. I'm not leaving because I want to, but you guys have been great to work with, every single one of you, and I mean it, especially this young man here. I hope I taught him a few things. I hope they're good things, and I hope he'll remember me for those. And, all our stints from the 90s and all that with Paul and Bill and Sharon. I mean, we go back a long time. I've got all those pictures on the wall of all those people before us, and it's been a great thing and a great honor in my life. But I want to tell you that I've always said and I hope you remember me on this, is we were put here by the voters to do things for them. And when we really get caught up, is put them on the ballot. And I got to tell you, I'm a Rutland High School 1975 graduated. I never participated in sports. And if you wanted to meet me in a ballot booth and that was on the ballot, I would have voted for Rutland Red Raspberries for all I care. I just tried to get it on the ballot, okay? And I was called racist and all that out of it. And I have to tell you, I have 2 interracial granddaughters. I was there the day they were born. I've got to hold them since they're in their teenage years. They're not my children, but we call them my grandchildren. And I've been, with them since birth. Love them as much today as they now enjoy their teenage years. So anyone that knows me and knows me from around town, I'm not a racist, and I'm certainly not a mean person or whatever. The guy I really got to thank is the mayor. Ran against him last year. He taught me how to lose an election, so I'm a little experienced. And he's a good mayor, and I hope history remembers him as one of the city's best and conscientious and capable mayors. And again, you fellow board members, the committee, the department heads, awesome group of people we've got running the departments here, Henry. And Lacey, I'm gonna miss all you guys. And I thought something maybe to remember me by. I'm gonna buy a motorcycle and take the exhaust off and maybe drive up and down the streets. But the last person to thank, and most important, will be my wife. The only thing she'll be upset about is having been the master of ceremonies for the really big show for, I think it was 15 of the 20 years it was around. I enjoy those kinds of shows, and the biggest argument in our house is over the TV show The Voice, which is Monday night. So now she's lost the TV on Monday nights, and we have to blame that on you guys. So we'll be arguing over that. But thanks again, everyone, and I hope we meet again. Again, thank you, Mayor. I hope I didn't forget anybody. But I am the guy, I guess, that's going to get the motion to adjourn tonight, and I hope Mr. Clifford will give me a second.
Thank you, Sammy.
Well, with that, Alderman Caruso, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned.